$sign connection equals MySQL underscore connect. And MySQL Connect is going to need to take in a host, a user, and a password. Very similar to, we've got our database host, our database user, and our database password here. So we're just going to use those variables instead of typing in the values here. So the first it's going to be expecting is what host are we connecting to. So $DB host. So that of course is going to hold localhost. We've got DB user, and capitalization here is very important. You have to refer to variables by the same capitalization you used when you created them. So the user, or PHP, and the password. Now, let's see, $DB password, and so we've got all the information that it would need to make the connection here. This would connect, but the thing is, as it is now, we want to make basically an exception, like what to do if it can't connect, because the database server could be down or it could have incorrect information here. So basically, this is trying to connect, but now we want something to do if it's unable to connect. So after that, before the terminator, we'll add or. Die is the same thing as exit. It causes the script to immediately terminate, and you can feed it some more like basically what to show when it dies. So die, and you can give it a string. We'll say error connecting. You could put a this is just something to show the user if the script is unable to connect. So we've got that.
So in other words, this would be echoed out in their browser.
Right. Now there's other stuff. MySQL Connect actually will return warnings other than that, but I'll show how to use that and how to silence that if you want to. So that, if this runs properly, that will actually establish a connection, and we've got a link to that connection stored in $connection.
Right. So hopefully at this point, what you're seeing is when you use $DB underscore host, $DB underscore user, and $DB underscore password. Go ahead and switch back over to the other tab. There you go. Those were the things that were stored right here in these variables: localhost, PHP, and foo. So that's where, just so that you guys see how this is all starting to tie together, that's where it's pulling that information from and putting it into the function.
Okay, and there was actually a second reason I've separated these files. If we didn't use this method of establishing variables for these, what you could have done is simply typed out in double quotes localhost, typed out PHP, and foo. Now the problem with that is you're in plain text, you're typing out your password there. Now, normally if PHP runs correctly, it will parse that out, and the web browser will you won't be able to view source and see your password. Unless there's some Apache settings that got messed up, something could get messed up and PHP not be called to parse the script, and in that case, all your code could actually get shown out to the browser. And then all of a sudden, Joe Schmo has all your information for logging into your database.
You're kind of saying, hello world, here's my database information and my password.
Yes, whereas what would happen now is if PHP failed to run or failed to be called by Apache, they would just see that you're storing stuff in $DB user and DB password. They have no idea of what it is. And what we'll be doing in a minute is actually blocking this folder. We put this under that config folder. We'll actually be blocking that off of normal access, to where PHP will be able to load files from there, but a web browser will not. So it'll be completely impossible for anyone to actually go in there and see your settings.
Oh yeah, baby. Now we're getting into some good stuff.
Alright, so we're establishing a connection, and what this will do is it will not get past this point. If this connection is not made, it will stop here. So I'm going to add one extra line down here and have it echo something. Let's see, echo connection made.
Or made, or successful, or whatever.
Or made.
Yeah.
Basically, if it gets to this point, that means we actually did get the connection. If we don't get connection made, that means there was some kind of a problem. So with that, I'm going to close off the tag, pull that back, and I'm just going to save this as just a temporary script. We might refer to the code in here later, so we don't have to type it back out again. But anyway, I'll go ahead and save this one out. This one under webroot, because remember, we'll be working with any scripts we run will be under webroot. This config file is just for holding that extra db config PHP script. So I'll just do temp con.php. As we're not going to be writing any more in the script. So I'll just go ahead and save that just so we can load up the browser and see if this works. So we've got that loaded there. I'll go ahead and bring up a web browser. HTTP 127.0.0.1, so we'll be hitting localhost, and then temp_con.php. Connection refused is what happens. This might be a setting on our end. Might be able to fix this real quick. This is just okay. You don't have to do this. This is just some funkiness that's we've been having with our browser. Let me see if I can correct that real quick and save this. So again, HTTP tempcon.
Interesting.
This is what happens when you have a machine that hasn't been reformatted in forever.
Watch this. Go back into those options again.
Options, internet options, connections, line settings.
Uncheck, click OK, click OK. Don't close the browser. Now go back in.
Nope. I had to reload the browser last time. Well, if I open a new browser, maybe it'll... I didn't want that. Okay. I'd be mad if that was it. Okay. Yes. Darn it, I don't believe I did that. Yeah, do HTTP // It actually is 2 forward slashes. Alright, and
that's great.
So, okay, now the script is running here.
It just goes to show we're just humans like everyone else.
Alright, so this fatal error here is because MySQL connect is me not being able to type. So let me go and correct that. So MySQL connect.
Yeah, spelling's not.
Easy.
Spelling's pretty important here.
Go back to the browser and let me refresh. Connection made.
Yay.
Okay, now, so everything worked amazingly other than that, but what would have happened if you had, like, it didn't have the right host, or let's say the wrong password. Say we're missing a 0 on that. We save that config script out. So now it's going to load up this dbconfig, and it's going to have the wrong password stored in $dbpassword. So let's see what happens. Refresh. Ooh, warning, access denied. Now, you get you get the warnings, 2 warnings, and then here's our own little message. Now, these warnings are great for when you're trying to debug your script. Let me go see.
But not necessarily great when you want to hand this off to the user.
Right. If you don't want all this junk to appear and them wonder what in the world you're doing. Say you just wanted to have your own custom error message and not show them like what the actual warnings were. You can have the any function inside of PHP. It can be told to be silent, as in if it runs